All right, welcome folks. This is David, the Head of Technology at the Banyule Nillumbik Tech School. Here in December, we're wrapping up the year and we've brought in an amazing panel today to have a discussion around linking industry into our learning here at the Tech School. So I'd love people just to introduce themselves to our audience, starting off with you, Vincent.
Oh, hello everyone. My name's Vincent Sicari and I'm the principal of Eltham High School. I've been associated with the Nillumbik Banyule Tech School for many, many years. I think from its inception, in fact, even prior to that, when we were planning for the tech school to actually be created.
Fantastic. Thanks, Vincent. And I'm Meri from the Banyule Nillumbik LLEN. I've worked in the area for the last five years with all the local secondary schools in the space as well as community partners. And we've been working with the Banyule Nillumbik Tech School since certainly I've been here, but certainly since the committee came together for the reopening, I think, of the campus, but then also in support of the tech school being on campus, which has been fantastic. So thanks.
Thanks for that, Meri. My name's Sushant. I'm the Community Energy Officer at Banyule City Council, and this is my first year at the Banyule Nillumbik Tech School, and really excited to be here. I really want to make sure that we consider our energy future when it comes to young people, and it's an exciting opportunity for me to be part of this group. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thanks, Sushant, and great to meet everyone. My name's Scott. I'm the Business Development Manager with the Entrepreneurship team at Trobe University, and again, been working on and off with the Banyule Nillumbik Tech School since basically its inception, and really excited to work with founders and as they build out their businesses and just see the impact that they can make through a startup or an idea and progressing that.
Amazing. Like I said, an incredible panel here. And at the Tech School today, we've proposed this question: how can we engage industry in a really meaningful way that will enhance our student learning outcomes? Now, that's a big question and that's a tough question, but I think everybody in the room here is really well placed to offer some interesting insight. And we went through a bit of a brainstorming session and we identified some themes that I'd love to talk about. And I might just kick off with thinking about, how do you see the future of industry? And is it about soft skills for young people? Is it about qualifications? And perhaps what are those starting points for students moving into industry? And Vincent, if you'd like to kick us off.
Yes. Well, look, I think it's all of those things. I don't think it's one thing in place of the other. I think ultimately we've got to show our young people that there is hope and that there is a future for them out there in society. And we need industry to partner up with us to actually take that forward. I think that there is a great deal of power and energy in our young people. And for me, I think the most important thing is to really create the narrative that's going to convince, for lack of a better term, our industries to partner up with young people to benefit not just the young people, but also benefit the industry. And I think earlier on we spoke about the importance of student or young people's voice, but also understanding the needs of industry and really bringing those things together.
Thank you, Vincent. And I think in addition to that, one of the things I would add is that part of the narrative, really, we really need to start thinking about having conversations with industry to tell us some of the positive stories that they have around some of the great case examples where students have engaged and what some of those outcomes have been. So where we do start talking about hope in the future, young people can actually see that this has been done before, but also be real and talk about what are some of the challenges and how can we actually work together to look at overcoming some of those so that we can really make that connection genuine when we do make it happen.
Excellent. I do agree that we need to be focusing on soft skills when it comes to the future jobs that are going to be created in industry. Obviously, there's a massive need to increase the amount of electricians that we may need to fully electrify our society, and that's going to require quite a lot of investment. However, there's also quite a lot of opportunity when it comes to architecture, manufacturing, also looking at creatively solving multiple wicked problems when it comes to sustainability and energy. I think there's quite an untapped resources in young people when we're looking at how we can solve a lot of these issues that people my age or older may not necessarily be able to even consider as a solution. So I think providing opportunities for young people to have a voice, but also help co-design a future that they're proud to live in, is something that we need to do as a society. I think it's honestly a responsibility for all of us.
And that warms my heart to hear all of that, because I guess that all links back to that sort of entrepreneurial thinking and, you know, really taking it back to how can fresh perspectives add value to both parties, and taking on board the points around having everyone at the table, just so that there's an awareness, because often you'll find that there might be a low awareness from students around how industry works, and also how from industry about how to engage. And certainly in the past, I think one of the biggest barriers has been the ease at which industry can engage. Quite often there's a lot of hurdles that are put in front of them to get that engagement. So I think a program that really takes into account all of those perspectives, but at the same time opens up the ability for those two to connect and really build something together. I think also startups, again, are a key part of that. Quite often people defer to larger organisations or those that are well established as sort of a beacon of, you know, where to go. But I think that, you know, you've really got an opportunity here to work with some startups that have come in with novel ideas that are looking for investment and collaboration, and they can be another party to the table as well.
Yeah, love that, Scott. And you reminded me of thinking about young people and their unique capacity to tackle some of the challenges that perhaps industry are facing. There's a real rise of social challenges for industry, and perhaps young people are better positioned to navigate some of this. Did you want to try to unpack some of those concepts, and what do you think young people could offer industry? Because we talk about a lot of industry coming for young people, but what can young people actually offer industry?
Well, just looking back to those fresh perspectives and really, you know, having avenues, whether it be projects or design challenges or things like that, that can really unleash that sort of creativity. I think Sushant mentioned, you know, wicked problems and then smart solutions. And then also the fact that another point that was made around, you know, there are people that might assume, you know, this is what community want or this is what the wider sector wants, whereas, you know, students are at the coalface of a different area of society than maybe industry are. So I think really just having channels that can really unleash that creativity in both industry and students in an unharnessed way that then can be sculpted into something, I think that's really exciting. And again, that's moving away from maybe the more prescriptive methodologies and approaches that exist currently. And, you know, I think that brings into question, you know, what are some of the programs about how students at school engage with industry now, and how do you even, you know, shake that up a bit and look at something that's going to be more meaningful for both.
Excellent. Something else that I'm quite interested in is young people's opportunities to be storytellers, specifically when it comes to new media and potentially even some of the traditional media around film and television. I have heard quite a lot of passion from young people, and I'm certain, given the opportunity to share their views and opinions and stories, they'll be able to provide a hope not only for other young people, but also for people who may be a bit apathetic to some of the climate risks that we're likely to face in the future. And I think hearing that voice from a young person can be quite powerful rather than hearing it from, quote unquote adult. Really looking forward to exploring the opportunities when it comes to particularly those grassroots documentary filmmaking and advocacy and potentially activism work that's available for young people. I'd be really excited to be part of that, even from the outside.
That's amazing. Thank you, Scott and Sushant. I think you've really hit some really integral points around giving students opportunity and agency to get in and actually provide their own ways of doing things different, and showing employers and industry that there are different ways of navigating things that they could be doing, but also opening up different opportunities, Sushant, around issues that they might be seriously thinking is going to have an impact on them in their futures. I'm going to take a slightly different slant and talk about some of the feedback we get from industry. And I think we've already talked quite a lot about students and what students can bring, but also what industry tell us is that obviously students come in and we're treating students as students. And one of the pieces of work that we've been doing with industry is to say, well, you need to treat a student like you would in a new employee and do a proper induction or H&S and treat them as though they're an adult coming into your industry. So they get that real sense of what being in a job is really like. Yes, it might be branded as work placement. Yes, it might be branded as come in and solve a problem. But it's also about teaching them the skills that they need to understand they will need to use and navigate once they enter into that working world, whether it's a casual part-time job in the future. It's actually that experience of actually first engaging and entering into industry. So I take a slightly different slant on this conversation just to bring that aspect into it, because it's an important aspect and both need to have mutually beneficial takeaways from the experience. So that would be my input as part of this.
Thanks, Meri, and thank you for all your inputs, because I think they're all very much closely related. I think there's 3 points that I'd like to make, and sort of picking up from where each of you have left off. I think that we often underestimate the power of our young people, and I think we often underestimate the knowledge and understanding that they have of the world around them. I think, we make assumptions that are purely that. They're assumptions, they're not the reality. And yet when we get, start to really dig deep and get to know our young people, we realise that our assumptions are incorrect. So I think we have to really step up and not underestimate what young people are able to contribute. I think in relation to industry partnerships, we will engage young people if they are provided with authentic experiences. So, the things that Meri was talking about earlier, actually going into an industry place or a workplace and being treated as an equal member, as an employee potentially, but really being taken through the normal things that an employee gets taken through, provides that level of authenticity that young people can engage with and value. So I think that's really, really crucial in getting young people on board. I think, the points that you made, Scott and Sushant, were really, really pertinent to this point as well, in that, young people are a real resource that we don't often engage with, and it's important for industry to actually use the resource and take advantage in a sense of that resource. However, the other thing that I think is really important in engaging young people is to make sure that they are aware of the outcomes of their contribution, because often, there's been, we jump in and we sort of provide an opportunity for young people to engage with industry, and then they move away and they sort of feel like, well, my contribution wasn't valued. I don't know whatever came of that contribution. So making sure that, young people are really party to the outcomes of their input, I think is really, really crucial to engaging with them, which then also feeds back into the benefits for the industry as a partner.
Thanks, Vincent, and thanks to the whole panel. This has been such an incredible chat. and to have this opportunity to speak with our tech school committee members who we really value the input, and we have such a diverse experience and background. So I can't miss this opportunity to ask you all now to share some ideas, looking ahead at what you'd really love to see the tech school doing. We're going to stick with this lens through industry engagement, but feel free to just speak broadly about your own area or interests and what you'd love to see the tech school doing more of. And I think we'll go back the other way. So Vincent, if you'd like to kick us off, thank you.
Yeah, so look, thank you. I think I'll stick to the topic that we're on, and ultimately, I suppose my sense is that the tech school has a really crucial role in establishing these partnerships, and I almost consider the tech school as the conduit between our young people and industry. I think for me, there are, three really crucial areas that we need to focus on in engaging in this sort of partnership building. And for me, what is really important is to be really, really clear about the why of, the partnership. And I think that's going to be crucial in making sure that we bring on board partners that are really understanding of what it is that we're trying to achieve. I think then really identifying the how we go about building the partnership itself, and then ultimately the what, which is the partnership itself. So for me, using young people to actually create the narrative that identifies or explains the why, and using our young people to sell that narrative to industry gives them the opportunity to engage their voice, so that whole area of student agency and voice comes to life in an authentic way. Then the conversations with industry around how do we go about establishing the partnership, nurturing the partnership, and ensuring that the partnership continues in the most positive of ways, and then being really clear about the outcomes that we want for both our young people and for industry. And then I think the end result of that would be the celebration of the partnership itself, the what. So, that to me would be work that the tech school could do to actually affect what it is that we want out of this strategy.
Thank you, Vincent. That was a really well and concisely put together sort of synopsis, I think, of everything we've been talking about today. And in addition to that, I agree with everything. I would say maybe throughout the next year or two, when we have a new strategy, having young people document the whole process. And if we're talking about young people telling the narrative and actually experiencing part of what the tech school has to offer, get the young people to actually tell that story and present at a celebration at the end about what it is that they've gained out of it, and where do they start and where do they end up, and what reflections can they share with people. So actually starting to really put people at the front and centre of telling that narrative and beginning that process. But I also just want to commend the tech school. I think that there's been some fantastic work that's been done, and we're only neighbours, so we've sort of often down here and watching a lot of what goes on, and we utilise the space, and we're seeing more and more buses and students come across to do more work with the tech school over the many years, particularly COVID. That had a bit of it stored everything for you, I think, and certainly for us. But it's been fantastic to watch it grow and continue to develop, and we're looking forward to working more with you in the next few years as well. Thank you.
Lovely, Meri. That was amazing. Something that I'm particularly passionate about is providing young people at the tech school an opportunity to influence the way society may be able to uptake electric vehicles, and in particular the issue with electric vehicle charging that we have in Australia. I'm talking not only from a reliability point of view, but also from a user experience point of view, whether that's the actual architectural infrastructure or the electrical infrastructure that's the limitation, or whether that's the user experience infrastructure. And I am aware that there are opportunities with VR or AR technology where young people may be able to experiment, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and provide a really optimum pathway for Australians to take up electric vehicles in the masses, because when we're looking at electric vehicles, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your opinion, manufacturers from around the world are going to stop selling petrol and diesel vehicles in the coming decades, and Australians are going to have to adapt and drive electric vehicles in the future. The opportunity really lies in how we go about embracing that change, and I think young people have a really powerful voice in being able to design, champion, and potentially lead that change.
Thanks, Sushant. And again, agreeing with all of the points here, I think for any partnership, and that's how I see this, is how can students and industry add value? And I guess linking back to Vincent's point before, that this is the tech school could be a safe space for that to occur, utilising the tools that are here. Also picking up on a previous point that Vincent made around what next. So I think with a lot of programs, the partners come in, so it could be industry, could be students, could be the stakeholders of the tech school. The opportunity is delivered and then everyone goes home. So I think any of these programs that can really improve student agency beyond that, and also keep students engaging with industry, because I think, there's obviously a lot of expertise from both sides. And I guess that collaboration, maybe it could be a mentoring program, something like that really does lend itself to continuing that journey beyond that initial incursion. So for me, the tech school's, as someone said, the conduit for all this activity to occur. And picking up on Sushant's point, I think, it's also the ability to utilise those tools and educate industry, and industry educating students around how they can collaborate to get this message out. So that could be around EVs, it could be around the kind of skills that industry is looking for from a particular sector. But yeah, for me, the tech school's already doing amazing work, but really it's that, how much value can the stakeholders bring, and then what's next after that program to continue that good work and that relationship that's been built.
Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate the time that you've all taken, Sushant, Meri, Vincent. It's been lovely having you at the Tech School today, and all the work that you've done over the year as part of the committee. We'd really like to continue this type of program into the future. So for now, though, we'll sign off and say thank you very much, and look forward to a happy new year, and talk to you again all soon. So bye for now.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
The opportunity
Bye.
has been great. Thank you.